The forgotten guest. The old house on the edge of town had been abandoned for years. Its broken windows and sagging roof were a testimony to neglect, and the locals whispered about it in hushed tones. Some claimed to have seen lights flickering in its windows at night. Others swore they heard footsteps echoing through the empty halls, but no one had dared enter in a long time until tonight. Mark, Rachel and Tom stood before the front door, the wood groaning under the weight of age and decay. "We shouldn't be here," Rachel whispered, clutching her jacket tighter against the chill in the air, but Mark just grinned, his flashlight casting long shadows across the overgrown yard. "Come on, it's just an old house," he said, pushing the door open with a loud creak. "Well, take a look around, maybe snap a few pictures, and we'll be out in no time." The three friends stepped inside, their footsteps muffled by a thick layer of dust. The air was heavy and it smelled of mildew and something else, something faintly metallic. Tom shivered, glancing around at the peeling wallpaper and the cobwebs that hung like tattered curtains from the ceiling. They moved through the house slowly, their flashlights cutting through the darkness. Every creak of the floorboards seemed amplified in the silence, and every gust of wind through the broken windows sounded like a distant whisper. They wandered through a decaying living room, past a kitchen coated in grime, and up a staircase that groaned under their weight. It was on the second floor that they found the room. The door was slightly ajar and a faint light seeped through the crack. Mark frowned, exchanging a puzzled glance with his friends. "Did someone beat us here?" he murmured. He pushed the door open. The room was empty save for an old wooden chair in the center. It faced a large dust-covered mirror that hung on the opposite wall. The light was coming from a single candle that sat on the floor beside the chair, its flame wavering as if disturbed by a breeze, but there was no breeze. Rachel stepped back, her face pale. "Let's go," she said urgently. "I don't like this." "Wait," Mark said, staring at the mirror. His reflection looked wrong, distorted, as if something was standing behind him, though there was nothing there. "Look." Tom pointed at the chair. A piece of yellowed paper lay on the seat. Mark picked it up and squinted at the faded handwriting. "Sit and stay a while. Guest, you've been expected." "What the hell does that mean?" Rachel asked, her voice trembling. Before Mark could respond, the door slammed shut with a deafening bang. The candle flickered wildly and then went out, plunging the room into darkness. Rachel screamed and Tom fumbled for his flashlight. When he finally turned it on, its beam swept frantically across the room. The mirror was empty, their reflections were gone. Where are we?" Rachel stammered, staring at the blank mirror. Mark stepped forward, his hand trembling as he reached out to touch it. His fingers brushed against the cold glass, and then something pulled him. He let out a choked cry as his body was yanked forward, vanishing into the mirror as if head stepped through a doorway. Rachel screamed again, rushing toward the mirror, but Tom grabbed her arm, pulling her back. "Mark!" Tom shouted, pounding on the glass, but it was solid, unmoving. They stared in horror at the mirror, and then slowly a shape began to form within it. A figure, pale and thin, emerged from the darkness on the other side. It was not Mark. Its eyes were sunken, its mouth stretched into a grotesque grin. Slowly it raised a bony hand and waved. Rachel and Tom stumbled back, the flashlight slipping from Tom's grasp and rolling across the floor. The room grew colder, the air thick with a suffocating presence. "We have to go," Rachel cried, pulling at Tom's arm. They turned and ran, their footsteps echoing through the house, down the stairs, through